We've all seen it happen. A player on our favorite team goes to make a play, only to be foiled by their equipment, whether it be holes in baseball gloves or a broken stick ruining a slap shot. It's a common sight and not one that's limited to traditional sports. Esports has seen its fair share of equipment failures over the year, and Halo is no exception, even on its biggest stage.
This is the back smack. Oh no!
When disaster struck for Spartan at the 2018 World Championship, everyone watching knew they were seeing a piece of history. This is the story of a team's effort to maintain composure in the face of catastrophe. This is the story of one of Halo's most iconic controller
it looks like
disconnects.
Spartan's controller disconnected. That's big. Oh my gosh, you saw him look down at his controller. Controller disconnects.
Oh, no. Our story begins in April of 2018. After months of online qualifiers, the Halo community's best players had gathered at CenturyLink Field Event Center in Seattle for the Halo World Championship. 16 teams would duke it out over the weekend to determine who would take home the honor of being crowned the best in the world and the lion's share of the $1 million prize pool. Having placed 4th in Orlando and 3rd at the regional qualifier for the championship, the team known as Reciprocity was hungry for a win. Consisting of Spartan and Penguin alongside the legends Mikwen and Snipedown, the team had a legitimate shot of taking the whole thing.
But you are up next. You're facing Infused, London champions.
Yeah, so Infused has been the top teams ever since the first Worlds. They've always been pretty much the #1 team in EU, so I'm definitely excited to play a really solid team first.
At the start of the event, they looked good, only dropping one map in pool play to Team Infused, Europe's best team at the time. Moving on to the bracket, they came out hot there as well, sweeping Straight Rippin'. They did lose to the legendary Tox roster in the next round, but by taking 2 maps off of them, Reciprocity had showed they were there to play. Despite also having 3 legendary Halo players on their roster, Renegades never stood a chance in the losers bracket, as Reciprocity swept them away.
It's gonna be Reciprocity who sweep aside Renegades in our first game of the day.
Team Envy, made up of I Got Your Pistola, Lucid, then known as Saiyan, Trippy, and Boo Boo Dubu, followed an almost identical path. They only dropped 1 map during pool play and won their first bracket match before falling 4-2 to Splice.
Sure, Splice are gonna take game number 6 and move on in the winner's bracket.
After sweeping Elevate in the losers bracket, the match between these 2 titans was set.
Yeah, such big money on the line for this matchup here, Sims. And what's amazing is I think it's safe to say that this is kind of the test, right, of the roster moves that have occurred from the season. Who made the right decision?
Seattle, scream your lungs out. Let me hear you make some noise. Winner of this bags themselves top 3 and a guaranteed check of $100,000.
Team Envy dominated map 1, taking Eden Strongholds 100-24. Reciprocity evened the series up by taking a convincing Coliseum Slayer. Envy fired back though with a quick 3-0 Truth CTF and another dominating Strongholds performance, this time on Plaza. Reciprocity fought hard to stay alive in the series, taking Regret Slayer and Coliseum CTF comfortably. This was it. Slayer on the rig to determine who would end up playing Tox for a shot at the grand finals.
This is a $100,000 rig Slayer. You're playing 1 match of Team Slayer for $100,000.
The game started out neck and neck. The first 10 kills for both teams went back and forth before Reciprocity started to pull away. Envy battled back, and the cycle repeated. With just under 6 minutes left, Reciprocity had a 4-kill lead, and Spartan had the sniper timed. He grabbed it and ducked back into cover. After a second, he stepped back out, and just as he used his thrust ability, it happened.
Oh boy, it looks like Spartan's controller disconnected. That's big. Oh my gosh, you saw him look down at his controller. Controller disconnects.
Oh, no.
That could be a huge turn there. He was about to bring that sniper to Egypt. And now Envy's gonna get a camo. Are you kidding me?
Controller disconnected, the screen read, as his Spartan was left standing wide out in the open for a free kill.
His controller disconnected. That's big. Oh my gosh, you saw him look down at his controller.
Envy immediately capitalized, with Saiyan grabbing the camo before doubling back to pick up the sniper.
Where does the sniper rifle go? It goes in the hands of Saiyan.
The 2 teams would continue to trade off kills, being even around the 40 mark. Envy played the home stretch just a bit better though, and were able to secure the map and the series with a score of 50-44.
And there it is! Team Envious, they shoot, they score!
It's hard to know for sure how much of an impact the disconnect made. On one hand, the timing was incredibly unfortunate. It gave the sniper to the other team and likely resulted in them losing camo as well. However, there was still just shy of half the game left when it happened. It's entirely possible that the final outcome would have been the same regardless. What we can say for sure though is that one of Halo's most iconic equipment malfunctions most definitely resulted in a snipe down.
What a series.
And it's a heartbreaking defeat there, of course, for Spartan. Such an amazing performance from him the whole weekend, and you saw the controller disconnect as he grabbed that sniper rifle and was flying into E2. Who knows what would have happened in that series had that not happened. you saw that still they had the lead after that.